It was a cold evening in California when I received the message that changed my life forever. My phone buzzed on the kitchen counter while I was making dinner, a simple meal I had planned for my family. I wiped my hands, smiling as I expected another cheerful message from my son, who'd been away at college. But when I opened it, my heart sank. The text said only one thing: "Mom, you won't be joining us tonight." At first I didn't understand. I thought maybe there was a change in plans. Maybe something went wrong with the reservation. But as the words sank in, a chill ran down my spine. "You won't be joining us." I sat down slowly, the wooden chair creaking beneath me. The house felt different, silent, almost hollow. I looked around at the walls filled with family photos, pictures of birthdays, beach trips, holidays, and laughter. Every frame told the story of a family I thought was unbreakable. I had raised my son alone for years after his father and I divorced. I worked extra shifts, gave up vacations, and turned every dream I had into fuel for his future. Every choice I made, every sleepless night, every sacrifice was for him. And yet, in that single message, I felt him slipping away from me. As the evening went on, I learned that he was having dinner with his father, my ex-husband, and his new wife. For the first time, they didn't want me there. My son, my only child, had chosen to spend that night without me. It might sound small to others, but for me, it was everything. I sat alone at the dinner table, staring at the empty plate I had set out for him. The candles flickered, casting shadows across the room, and I could hear the clock ticking. A cruel reminder that time doesn't stop for heartbreak. That night, I didn't eat. I just sat there, remembering the years I had carried him in my arms when he was sick, the nights I had read him stories until he fell asleep, the mornings I woke up early just to make his favorite breakfast. I remembered the way he used to say, "You're the best mom in the world." And now, I couldn't help but wonder what had changed. Was I no longer that mother? Was I no longer enough? Days turned into weeks. My son stopped calling as often. When he did, his voice felt distant, polite, the kind of voice you use for someone you respect but no longer truly know. I tried not to cry in front of him. I told myself it was just a phase, that he was growing up, finding his own world. But deep down, I knew something had shifted forever. I started walking every morning to clear my mind. On those walks, I would see mothers with their children, laughing, arguing, holding hands. And each time, I felt both joy and pain. I wanted to reach out and tell them, "Don't take this for granted. One day, they might not need you anymore." But I stayed silent. I carried my grief quietly, like a secret I couldn't share. Years passed. My son graduated, got married, and built his own life. I attended the wedding, of course, but I felt more like a guest than a mother. The bride was beautiful, kind and graceful, and she treated me with respect. But when I looked at my son, I saw traces of the boy I had raised slipping further away, replaced by a man shaped by another world. I smiled for the photos. I said the right words, but inside I was breaking. When the ceremony ended, and he walked out hand in hand with his wife, I whispered to myself, "You did it, my boy. You found your happiness, even if it no longer includes me." For years I lived quietly. I filled my days with books, gardening, and volunteering. I learned how to be alone, not lonely, just alone. But sometimes, when the evening sun painted the sky orange and gold, I'd sit on the porch and wonder if he ever thought of me. If he ever missed the smell of pancakes in the morning, or the way I used to hug him before school. The memories were bittersweet, beautiful, yet sharp enough to hurt. Then, one morning, I got a letter. It was from the Oprah Winfrey Show. My heart skipped a beat. At first I thought it was a joke, but when I opened it, I realized it was real. They wanted me to appear on the show. The letter didn't say why. It only said that someone had shared my story and that there was something I needed to hear. I was terrified, but something inside me said, "Go." The studio was bright, filled with people and cameras. My hands trembled as I sat in the audience, waiting for Oprah to walk on stage. She smiled warmly, and her presence was calm, comforting, like the voice of a friend you never met. After a few moments, she said, "Today, we have a story about love, forgiveness, and the bond that time cannot break." And then she called my name. My heart stopped. When I walked onto the stage, the lights blinded me for a second. I could barely breathe. And then I saw him, my son, standing there, tears in his eyes. It had been years since I had seen him that close. He looked older, stronger, but the little boy I once held was still in his eyes. I froze. He walked toward me slowly, like he wasn't sure I'd let him come closer. Then he spoke. His voice cracked as he said, "Mom, I'm sorry." The room went silent. Cameras stopped moving. All I could hear was his voice, trembling with emotion. He said he had been selfish, lost in his own world, thinking that growing up meant leaving me behind. He said he realized too late how much I had given, how much I had loved, and how deeply he had hurt me. And then he said something I will never forget. "You taught me everything, except how to live without you." I didn't speak. I just held him. For a long time. The audience clapped, but I didn't hear them. All I felt was his heartbeat against mine, the rhythm of forgiveness, of love rediscovered after being lost. In that moment, I understood something profound. Love doesn't disappear. It may fade. It may hide behind walls of pride or misunderstanding, but it never dies. After the show, as we walked outside into the sunlight, my son took my hand, the way he used to when he was a little boy. He said, "Let's go home." And for the first time in years, I felt like I truly had one again. Now, when I tell my story, people ask me how I forgave him so easily. I tell them, because being a mother means loving beyond logic, beyond reason, beyond pain. Because no matter what happens, a part of your heart will always walk around outside your body. And that part will always be your child. So if you're listening to this story today, hug your children tighter, forgive faster, and love without keeping score. Because one day, they might grow up and forget the sound of your voice, until they remember it in the silence of their own heart. That night, when I came home after the show, I looked at the old family photos on my wall. They didn't hurt anymore. They told a story, not of loss, but of love that survived distance and time. I smiled and whispered to myself, the lesson I never wanted became the one I needed most.